G'day and welcome to the Northbourne Repair Cafe YouTube channel. Today's video is a powered speaker system that had fallen off the desk and suddenly stopped working. You can see us diagnose and fix the unit. I hope you find it useful. So we've got a stereo speaker system that's fallen off the bench and stopped working suddenly. I won't mention whose it is and how it happened, but needless to say, there's some requirement for me to try and get this going. Okay, let's start by plugging it in and seeing what response we get. Okay, so no light, no response at all. I wonder whether it comes down to a power supply issue. I'll get the multimeter and we'll have a look. So the power plug for this unit is a 12 volt DC rated at 1.5 amps. Let's just plug it in and use the multimeter to check what the raw output is. Oop. Make sure we've got good contact in there. There we go. Oop. I wonder. It seems a bit low and maybe a bit variable. I think what I might try and do is use the benchtop power supply and just see whether that might help. Okay, so just turn on the benchtop power supply connected to a plug at the back there, and looks like it is drawing current. I'll turn the unit on and see what happens. There it goes, drawing a bit more current, and guess what? We've got some display on the front screen. I'll just show you that in a sec. Oh, this might be a little bit, oops, I think I just knocked out my power cords. Just give me a sec, my dodgy connections. Try that again. No, something's gone funny. Alright, so what I was going to show you was the fact there is life on the front screen. And interestingly, as I move this around, I sometimes get a connection, sometimes don't, and the display comes up and then drops off. We'll try that one more time. Okay, so it looks like perhaps the connection issue is right at the power plug. I'll show you. I'll see if I can get both of these screens on at once to show you what I mean. Okay, I got the benchtop power supply voltage on the screen at the same time as I'm just fiddling with the back connector. All I'm doing is just moving it slightly, and I'll hold that there where we're at least draining something, and I'll push the button. Drains a bit more, and I'll see if I can keep this going. to show you. There's a display of the, whoops, just dropped off. I'll do that one more time. There you go. Alright, so it seems quite clear that what we've got here is a bit of a connection issue related to the power input. So likely what's happened is that when the unit dropped off the bench, connected to the power supply, it's got a bit of a whack and either broken a joint or weakened the connection there somehow. So time to open up. Okay, so I've removed the power connections to the unit. Try to remove this front cover. I can't remember how this comes off. Oh, looks like it just comes off like that. There we go. So underneath that front cover, a number of screws, and I can't quite see what they are. Because they're quite deep. Let's hope they're phillips-head screws. So I got the bottom 5 unit out, and yep, it looks like there might be ones in these ones as well. Not in that one. Oh, looks like there's a missing screw there, but there is one here. So this unit may have been opened in the past. Alright, let's see if we can prise this thing open. There we go. All right. Down in that bottom corner there is the connector board. So I think the best job would be to try and remove those. To have a good look at it and see if I can repair it. These screws do look like they've been attacked before, so make sure I got the right size screwdriver on there. Okay, there we go. I think these are just a smaller screw head. That was the problem. Okay, put those screws out in a sec. Alright, so this seems to be the problem board. Oh. Nothing obvious on the bottom, but I must say the top is looking a bit floppy. See if we can get a close look at this. So looking at the power connector board itself. The bottom of the board actually looks fine. No broken or dry connections that I can see there. And if I turn the board over to the top, I don't think we've got any problems there. I think that's okay. All right. Now, I did notice is this connector is sitting up a little bit on the off the board a little bit, which probably is not the best in terms of mechanical stability, and it sort of wobbles a little bit. But also, and perhaps something to sort out is what looks like a bit of corrosion and debris on the pin itself, on the plug itself. So I might give that a bit of a clean as well. Not sure that's the issue, but I'll give it a go anyway. So I've cleaned up that connection, resoldered the joints, although I don't think that's really the problem. I feel there's probably a mechanical issue inside the connector itself. It does feel a little bit floppy, a little bit loose. So I think what I'm going to have to do is replace the connector itself. If I get the plug in the right spot, it works quite reliably. But if I just move it slightly, it no longer turns on. Alright, so I suspect there's an internal issue with this, whether there's a small crack there or one of the internal connections is not quite right, or yeah, not quite sure about that, but either way, probably not ideal, so I'll try to get a new plug, new connector socket there to make this a bit more reliable. So with the DC jack, I did desolder it and resoldered it. Had a good look at it, and it looked like nothing was really wrong with it other than perhaps a bit of corrosion, a bit more than I thought perhaps. And so what I did is I just used a little bit of contact cleaner and really just activated the joint by plugging in and unplugging a few times, many times I guess, with the contact cleaner in it, and it seems to have solved the problem, as you can see. So I can turn this around, 360 degrees, backwards and forwards, wiggle it a bit. Oh, okay, maybe can't wiggle it too much. It's a lot better than it was. I'm wiggling that quite a bit. Plug back in. Yep, look, it's probably reliable enough to be used now. No, so there's nothing too serious about this. I would say it's still just a bit of a worn jack and with slight corrosion on it. But as you can see, it's working fairly reliably now. So I think we'll just leave that as it is. Yep, there we go. All right, I'll just put this back together and do a final test. Okay, so I got the unit back together again. I even found a spare screw that fits in where the missing one was, and so we'll just give it a quick test and see how we go. Oops, a little drawer came out. And remember these sort of connections? Yes, the old iPod ones. Not used for an iPod much these days. So anyway, let's have a look. Make sure we get the right button. There we go. And you can see that it is working. Turn off, turn on, turn off. Alright, I'll just disconnect that and clip the front cover back on. And we won't ask any more questions about how it fell off the bench. But either way, it's working now. Might wonder why, or how did I find a screw so easily? Well, I got a few supplies here. So I keep lots and lots of spare screws. Lots and lots of spare screws. So there's one lot, and there's another lot here. So usually not too much difficulty finding the screw to fill in where there's one missing. Anyway, I think we'll call that a fix, and we'll wrap this up. So just wrapping up this repair, the speaker system that had fallen off the desk and stopped working, turned out that it was a problem related to the power supply itself, or the power connection itself, the plug and the socket area in particular. So when we pulled it apart and had a good look, I noticed a bit of corrosion. Didn't notice any problems on the board or major problems with the connections outside of the plug and socket area. So what we end up doing is using a little bit of contact cleaner, and it looks like that solved the problem mostly. I still say this plug and socket probably could get replaced for a more permanent solution. But it looks like it's working relatively reliably now. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see any more of our videos. And let's hope we see you back here again on the North Bourne Repair Cafe YouTube channel.